guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and I have wet hair, which means I have straight hair, so you know the protocol, don't scare the hair. Now, we've got a lot today, a lot. Today is Saturday, March 23rd. It is 4:12 p.m. I'm trying to get a jump on this so that we can have time to cover more, because what we're going to be doing in this video, I'm going to pick up from the post that I didn't cover yesterday, and also Q has posted some today, so we're going to look at those as well. Then later, because I do have some dinner guests coming, later I intend on doing another video, and if Q has posted more today, I will cover that. If not, I've got a lot of Q related news. So I am planning on doing 2 videos today, one now, one later this evening. So again, a lot of news. We've got news that jingle jangle jingles, and I mean, we've got news with hair on it. So let's get started and let's look at what Q is saying. Then later on, we'll look at what the news is saying. Okay, let's go. Here is the first one from yesterday. And again, I didn't post yesterday. I was trying to get caught up with the news and everything that was happening. And there was so much to look at and so much happening that I felt it was more important for me to do that research so that, you know, I could bring it to you. Anyway, let's look at this. And this is the first Q drop from March 22nd, yesterday, Friday. And look at what he is pointing to in red down here. It said House Democrats threaten subpoena of Barr/Whitaker regarding declassification. Special counsel report, Huber, etc. House Democrats use subpoena power to, and ... acts. House Democrats use subpoena power, House Democrats use subpoena power to, and then ... acts 1, 2, and 3, spill plus 30. Now, this says Q proof, D's desperate subpoena. Okay, now, when did Q say this? Because this is an old Q post that he's referring to here, and it is from, I believe, February 19th, but I'm sorry, I don't know what is happening here. It is from, yes, February 9th, rather, not 19th. It is from February 9th, 2019, so not that long ago. So Q then, in that drop, said, you know, about the subpoena and so forth, letting us know how they were going to react to all this. And here we are over a month later, and future proves past as always, right? That is, I think, one of Q's most favorite sayings. Future proves past. And it always does, because here we are, this came out the 22nd of March, which was yesterday, and it's live breaking news. Developing. House Intel Committee Chair Adam Schiff says that the panel is willing to subpoena Robert Mueller to obtain a clearer picture of the contents of his report. CNN. I find this all very, very fascinating, you know, because they all kept looking to Mueller. They all kept saying, oh, when that Mueller report comes out, then you're going to see the extent to this collusion. You're going to see how dirty Donald Trump really is. But it's out. No collusion. None. But of course, now the Democrats are scrambling to change their narrative. It's like, whoa. Now, they knew what was coming in part, but I don't think they realized how big of a nothing burger it really was going to be. So, all very, very interesting, and it's so fascinating. I watched the news last night until late, and all the moves and counter moves, and just very interesting. I find Adam Schiff a very interesting character, to put it nicely, because I think, you know, we can see that he knows his goose is cooked. So and lots of other people as well. And we'll touch on that actually in the Q-related news. So please, stay tuned for later this evening. I will try to get it to you out to you as soon as possible, as soon as I can. But I don't like to rush my guests out the door either. So, but I do plan on bringing that to you this evening. Let's go on now. And we have this. And let's go up. Now Q is referring to the post that we just looked at, so we don't need to look at that again. But beneath it, he has put blockade removed. Who was the blockade? Mueller. That's who Q told us the blockade was. Mueller. Blockade removed, Mueller removed. And in fact, I heard that his office was being packed up and everything. So, bye-bye. And then beneath that, we have a link to Donald Trump's Twitter page, and let's take a look at that. All right. It was announced today by the U.S. Treasury that additional large-scale sanctions would be added to those already existing sanctions on North Korea. I have today ordered the withdrawal of those additional sanctions. Let's go back. And he says, sanctions lift, anons no, Q. Now, I will quite readily admit I don't understand fully about the sanction lift and how it's connected. I'm going to have to look into that further, or it could be just sometimes you get so used to looking at all this stuff, it kind of becomes, it's like if you're doing a tapestry rug and you're hooking and you lose the sight of the big picture because you're working on minute. And sometimes that happens with all this because there is a mess of names and all sorts of details in this that I don't think any one person could keep straight. It is so complex. And I don't think if we hadn't had over a year and a half to be incrementally learning about everything that was happening, then I don't think any of us would have any hope of understanding all this. It is so convoluted. And you know what? I think we're just scratching the surface, because any one thing that you glom onto and start to research, you realize how deep the dig goes. And you think, oh my gosh, this is connected to this. And this person here is connected to this and this over here. And it's unbelievable. I would like to see one of those, those relationship charts where you have a person and it's all the connections. I would love to see one done of this whole Great Awakening, because it would be a sight to behold. Anyway, let's go on. And here is the next one. And again, Q is making reference to the February 9th drop that we looked at, that he had outlined in red, that showed us where he wanted us to look. So he's got a link to that. He has placed that there for us to refer to. And then below, he said, we knew. Of course he knew. It's obvious he knew. Future proves past, right? He knew. We knew. We knew because he knew, and he told us. Then, beneath it, at what point is it mathematically impossible? Power is being returned to the people. The rule of law is being returned to our great land. Where we go one, we go all. Q. And time again, and that's why it's frustrating for us, and probably all of us, when people we know or people that really haven't been following this say, you know what, that's just all a bunch of hooey and it's been disproven. I mean, I don't know how many people have sent me stuff saying, look, this has already been disproven. These are people that are not following this, because how does this entity called Q know well in advance exactly what is going to happen? How? Well, we know. All right, now let's go on. I'm just going to reposition my microphone a little bit because, and you might hear a little bit of turbulence or something, but just a second, because it's not, there we go. It was kind of behind my computer a little bit, and I want to be sure that you're getting the audio. In fact, I may even, yes, you are getting the audio. All right. Alrighty, because it wouldn't be the first time I've had trouble with audio now, would it? So let's go on to the next. And we've got this, and again, this is from March 22nd, yesterday, Friday, and Q is making reference to an anon that says, D-class is a-comin'. Oh yeah, D-class is a-comin'. And it can't come soon enough. So Q just responds to that with an acknowledgement. Basically, when you see that number, just it's an acknowledgement. And let's go on. And here is the next one. Again, from March 22nd. They thought it was coming last Friday. Ammunition spent. Q. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Now we know the reason for the misinformation, right? The disinfo. And Q told us from the very, very start, disinfo is necessary. Why did he do that? So that we wouldn't get all, our panties all in a wad and thinking, oh, he lied to us. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did what he had to do because he knew the deep state and the cabal are watching the same boards that we're watching. So why would you tell your enemy what you're going to do? Why? I mean, he trolls them all the time. And so they thought it was coming last Friday. And so again, they're like spending all their ammunition, and then it dropped Friday. And I think it left quite a few people, quite a few people in the deep state and the cabal gobsmacked. Oh, yes, it did. In fact, Rachel Maddow, she had tears in her eyes. And, oh, yes, she did. I didn't believe it. I went out and looked at it. She did. So quite interesting responses out there, which we will go over when we get to the Q-related news. Anyway, let's go on up to the next one. And Q, again, on March 22nd, has made reference to a tweet by Lisa Mae Crowley. Again, a really good person to follow on Twitter. I do trust her. I do trust her decodes, and I think that she is the real deal. At least she hasn't steered me wrong. Not that I know her personally, but I do, keep up with her Facebook and so forth, or not her Facebook, but her Twitter and so forth. Let's go out and take a look. Obviously, Q thinks that she's okay because Q has led us to her. All right. And here she says, at Devin Nunes said that this is the unraveling of the biggest political scandal in American history. This began nothing more, nothing less than a Clinton-Obama operation with a bunch of dirty cops at the FBI and career Justice Department officials that were all a part of it. And that is the truth. This is only 40 seconds long, so I'm going to play it for you now.
My guess is it's probably going to be next week at some point. We have no idea what's in there, of course, but I think what you're seeing tonight, Laura, is the unraveling of the biggest scandal in American history, the biggest political scandal in American history. I really believe what that is. I listened a little bit ago to what you were saying about the history of this, and I think people need to remember this actually likely dates back to late 2015, early 2016, and this began nothing more, nothing less than a Clinton-Obama operation with a bunch of dirty cops at the FBI and career Justice Department officials that were all part of it. My guess is it's probably going to be next week at some point. We have no idea what's in there, of course, but I think what you're...
Just going back over the same thing there. I don't know whether, I think I just said it was 40 minutes long instead of 40 seconds long, and some of you probably went, but anyway, my error, oops. All right, let's go back. Is my hair still straight? See, I can't see myself when I get to the screen, and it's just as well, but I was just wondering, don't tell me, it'll just upset me. All right, let's go on. All right, and here we are on the next one, and Q has made a reference here to a drop by an anon. Now we have crossed now into March 23rd, which is today. So this is just fresh bread here. And he has included this post by an anon, which has clipped out this Newsweek. And it says, U.S. Fox News reporter quotes tweet from a QAnon related account on air. Oh, gosh, I love this. And the anon says, cool, they're covering our movement. We are the news now for sure. Or we are the news for sure now. And so there's a link to the article where the news reporter quotes, or the Newsweek, or Fox News reporter quotes Q, and it's in Newsweek. I don't think we need to read that whole thing because, it's, he referred to a tweet from QAnon. All right, now we know. So there's no need for me to go out and read it all. All right, and then it says the simple fact that this made the news, multiple articles, should tell you all you need to know. Number 2, attacked. Post tracking sites now censoring. Adjusted visitor counts. Panic. Q. And yes, I do believe that there is adjusted visitor counts. I have wondered that about my YouTube a lot because I think that it's being viewed by more people than is actually recorded. And there's a lot of times where people will say, oh, well, you got 100 comments, but you don't have any views. I don't understand how that works. And also, I'll have a lot of subscribers and then they just fall off. And I don't believe that they're people just, some people get ticked off. You say something they don't like, or they think, I don't like your jokes, I think you're whatever, and they leave. And you're always going to find that. You can't please everybody, and I don't expect to. But there is some nefarious things going on with social media, and we all know it. We all know about being shadow banned. There's a lot of people that I follow on Twitter that I'll click on their videos and I get maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds of sound and it cuts out. That's happening to me a lot. So, and people have said that about my YouTube channel. They said, well, I don't have any sound. So for some people, they get, a few minutes of sound and it cuts out. So they are messing with things. They're panicking. They don't want all these people commenting on this stuff. They don't. Because as more and more people are waking up, they're looking to the alternative media and, for answers. And deep state and cabal don't want there to be answers out there for them to have, right? They want them sticking with their narrative. And so they are panicking. And so let's go on. Gosh, I don't know what is wrong with all right, here we go. Here is the next one. And it's from March 23rd, obviously, today. And a picture of Jim Acosta, Rachel Maddow, and, what is his name? I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Hate that. Okay, let's go out to the article that he wants us to look at. All right. FBI clashed with DOJ over potential bias of source for surveillance warrant. McCabe Page texts. Just 9 days before the FBI applied for a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act FISA warrant to surveil a top Trump campaign aide, Bureau officials were battling with a senior Justice Department official who had continued concerns about the possible bias of a source pivotal to the application, according to internal text messages obtained by Fox News. The 2016 messages sent between former FBI lawyer Lisa Page and then FBI Director Andrew McCabe also reveal that Bureau brass circulated at least 2 anti-Trump blog articles, including a lawfare blog post sent shortly after Election Day that called Trump possibly among the major threats to the security of the country. Can you believe that? Yeah, as if Trump is a major security threat. Yeah. Another article sent by Page in 2016 as the FBI's counterintelligence probe into Russian election interference was kicking off flatly called Trump a useful idiot for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Page told McCabe then FBI Director James Comey had surely read that piece. Both articles were authored in whole or part by Benjamin Whites, a Comey friend. Further, the text showed that on September 12, 2016, Page forwarded to McCabe some unsolicited comments, calling then GOP Representative Trey Gowdy a total dick. I think that's what that word means. I would say that's what that is. Gowdy at the time was grilling FBI Congressional Affairs Director Jason Herring at a hearing on the FBI's handling of the Clinton email investigation. But perhaps the most significant Page McCabe communication made plain the DOJ's worry that the FISA application to surveil Trump aide Carter Page was based on a potentially biased source and underscored the FBI's desire to press on. Fox News is told the texts were connected to the ultimately successful Page application, which relied in part on information from British ex-spy Christopher Steele, whose anti-Trump views are now well documented, and cited Page's suspected Russia ties. It is in its warrant application, the FBI assured the FISA court on numerous occasions that other sources independently corroborated Steele's claims, but did not clearly state that Steele worked for a firm hired by Hillary Clinton's campaign. Carter Page has not been charged with any wrongdoings, and by the way, Mueller has announced there will be no further indictments coming out. It's done. It's over with. It is closed down. So Carter Page has not been charged with any wrongdoing, despite more than a year of federal surveillance, and he has since sued numerous actors, including the Democratic National Committee for defamation related to claims that he worked with Russia. And remember, that first FISA warrant was what made possible the rest. And there was no basis for that first FISA warrant for Carter Page. He's not been charged with any wrongdoing. He was under surveillance for more than a year. There's nothing there, nothing. And yet they were able to, from him, Carter Page, branch out and get to the real target, which was Donald Trump. And again, there was nothing there, nothing found, no collusion. Office of Intelligence, now has a robust explanation regarding any possible bias of the confidential human source in the package. Lisa Page wrote to McCabe on October 12, 2016, "Don't know what the holdup is now, other than Stu's continued concerns. It's unclear whether the confidential source in question was Steele or another individual. Stu was an apparent reference to Stuart Evans, then the DOJ's National Security Division Deputy Assistant Attorney General. In one previously unearthed and since unredacted text message, former FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok texted Lisa Page that he was currently fighting with Stu for this FISA in late 2016. So this is all very interesting. And here are some text messages. I'm not going to go into all of this, but let me see here. Strong operational need to have in place before Monday, if all possible, which means to court tomorrow, Page added. I communicated you and boss's green light to Stu earlier and just sent an email to Stu asking where things stood. This might take a high-level push. We'll keep you posted. Minutes later, Page sent another urgent text to McCabe. If I have not heard back from Stu in an hour, I will invoke your name to say you want to know where things are, so long as that is okay with you. On October 14th, 2016, Page again wrote to McCabe, this time concerning a meeting with the White House. Just called Page, said to McCabe. Apparently, the Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates now wants to be there, and White House wants DOJ to host. So we are setting that up now. We will very much need to get Cohen's view before we meet with her. Better have him weigh in with her before the meeting. We need to speak with one voice if that is in fact the case. Cohen is likely then Deputy CIA Director David Cohen. McCabe responded within the hour, thanks, I will reach out to David. On October 19th, Page wrote to McCabe that the meeting with White House counsel is finally set up. Lisa Page did not respond to Fox News inquiries as to whether the meeting was designed to brief the White House on the FISA application or some other matter. Page did not reply to Fox News inquiries about the DOJ's concern over the FISA application or dispute that the text related to the Carter Page warrant application. McCabe and the FBI declined to comment. Fox News has also reached out to the DOJ for comment. The FISA application, eventually filed by the FBI on October 21st, 2016, stated the FBI believes Carter Page has been the subject of targeted recruitment by the Russian government. Again, there was no evidence of that. The FBI went on to allege that Carter Page has established relationships with Russian government officials, again, all false, including Russian intelligence officers, and that the FBI believed the Russian government's efforts are being coordinated with Carter Page and perhaps other individuals associated with Trump's campaign. Page, the FBI told the FISA court, has been collaborating and conspiring with the Russian government. Yeah. And no, he wasn't. So this is actually mind-blowing stuff, especially when you realize it's all true. It's all true. Everything Q has been telling us, not everything has been proven yet, but it's being proven incrementally. We get more and more and more and more proof. So let's go back and see what Q has to say. And he says, the mainstream media seems to suffer a collective shock Friday evening after the office of the special counsel Robert Mueller handed its final report of its Russia investigation to the Department of Justice. Yes, I can verify, just skipping from, on the computer from news source to news source. Yeah, they were in shock. And Q responds saying, their only defense is to play dumb, shocked, and surprised to avoid collusion claims. Nobody walks away from this. Q. And what's he saying there? He's saying, well, they have to look shocked. Like, oh, what? Mueller doesn't have any indictments? What? No Russian collusion with no Trump, is innocent? What? No, can't be. Well, they have to act that way. They have to, because otherwise, if they didn't seem surprised at all, you could point at that and say, well, you were in on this, which they were. And Q is saying, nobody walks away from this. They knew, and they got on air and they reported it anyway. They reported false news, fake news to the American people. Yeah. And sure, I'm sure they were told by their bosses to do so. But it's like, in studying Nazi Germany, it's like, when do you say no? When do you say no? It's like, I remember listening to an interview from a man that had been through the Holocaust, and he was not Jewish, but he said, he's a train driver, and one day he's hauling oranges and bananas and fruit and vegetables in the train, and then the next day there's people in there, and he doesn't ask where are they going, what's happening, whatever. So, and is he liable? Yes. Yes. Yeah. There's even been experiments to see, if somebody that's wearing a lab coat asks you to shock somebody and say it's an experiment, and you can't see the person. They did this experiment, by the way, and you couldn't see the person. And their job was, they were taking part in this experimentation. There was somebody on the other side, and they were to press a shock. And there was a person in a lab coat there with, looked very official and said, okay, I want you to shock at this level. And they did. And you could hear, the person like in pain. And then the more they turned it up, and the guy kept saying, no, turn it up. No, turn it up. And so he'd shock the person again, and he'd hear increasingly like, oh, like just agony. And then it was getting to the point where it was just, you could tell that this person was in absolutely mortal danger. And the guy says, shock him again. And he did. And nothing. There was nothing. Now, this was all an experiment. The person on the other side was not being harmed, but it was an experiment looking into how far somebody will go, when somebody who looks like they're in authority tells them what to do. How far will somebody go? Well, as it turns out, they'll go pretty far, all the way if they have to. And so when their bosses said, get on air and lie about this, they had a choice. They all had a choice. All right, let's go on. This is the last post from today, but it may not be the last post today. It's the last post that has been posted thus far, but today is still young, so there may be more. But again, I will come back later with either more Q posts or Q related news. So, but this is the last one. And it says, you are witnessing the collapse of the largest pre-planned and coordinated propaganda event in modern day history. Projection 101 Q. And by projection, he's meaning, all they did is to project onto Trump and his administration what they themselves were doing and guilty of. That's what they did. Projection 101. And it is collapsing like a house of cards. And last night, I think somebody just went to that house of cards because it's tumbling. It is tumbling. And I will note this as well, because I was talking to a friend last night, and I've known this person probably well over 20 years, and he says, have you seen the White House tonight? And I said, what do you mean? Well, have you seen the way it's being portrayed in the news? And I said, no, can't say as I have. Said, well, look at it. Just look at it, and you tell me if you think it looks strange. So I flicked around until I could find a live feed, and I looked at the White House. And he was waiting for me to find it, and I said, oh my gosh. And I said, all the lights are out. The light on the White House was white, but every window was dark. And I said to him, well, how odd is that? Because people work there. They work there. There's always people there. There's always cleaning people there. Whatever. There'd be security there. Absolutely security 24 hours a day. There is always people in the White House. Do you think that the White House is ever empty and the last one out, lock the door, turn off the lights? No. That doesn't happen. There's always somebody there. They would never leave the White House completely dark and vacant. Like, seriously, can you see that? Yep, last one out, lock the door. It's not going to happen. So it was odd to me. And it was shown in several pictures that the White House, white, like bright white lights on it and black windows. And I thought, isn't that interesting? And Trump was not even there. Was that planned? Did he plan to be in Key Largo when all this came down? Oh, I think so. And the pictures I noticed from, not Key Largo, what is it? Mar-Largo. That's it, isn't it? Mar-Largo, yeah, in Florida. Anyway, when I saw the pictures, what I noticed the most from those pictures was Melania's smile. She looked like 100-pound weight was lifted from her shoulders. And I noticed that, and I thought, isn't that interesting that the Trumps are all down there when all this frenzy is happening in Washington? Interesting. And planned, I believe. So anyway, that is it for the drop so far, and I will be back to you later this evening. But for now, I'm going to sign out and get ready for my guests, and I will come back later and visit with you all and drop some more Q drops or Q related news. So thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you all. I really do. I get such a kick out of your comments. I really do. Some of you, I think honestly, I should start doing a segment where I cut out or clip out some of the comments that are the funniest and bring them to you. I don't know if anybody would mind me doing that. I don't think so, because I wouldn't clip out anything that's offensive or that might embarrass somebody. But just some of it I would just like to share with you guys because it's hysterical. It really is hysterical. All right, so that's it. And I will see you back here later. At least I hope I'll see you back here later. I'll be here. And that's it for now. All righty.